Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, it's using the other camera. That's interesting. Oh, well. You guys can see all of my mess today. Um, Let me see something. Meh. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. I am. If you guys will do me a huge favor and just say good morning and let me know where you're watching from, that will be awesome. I'm trying to decide if. Oh, I can change this camera. Okay. Let's use this camera. That's better. Good morning. Hey, Sylvia, how are you this morning? You guys, welcome, welcome, welcome to today's Quick Craft with Royce. Hey, Linda. Hey, Nancy. Um, we are going to do another art block today. I'm sorry, I've been fighting with my cameras all morning. Yesterday was so dark, so I had to figure out what was going on. So I'm a little late, but I figured it out. I'm way too happy with myself. Hey, Lou. Hey, Linda. Did I say hi to Linda already? So this morning, you guys, our block is going to be like simple. But it's just because I want to go back to yesterday's block. So this is the block we made yesterday. Oh, Lord. I keep putting stuff on top of that wet block. And we decoupaged the back and we used some molds on the top of it. We painted our molds and I mean, it's finished, right? It's fine, but I do think it would be better with some fine line crackle. So I'm hoping we have time to go back and add some crackle to that one. So for today's, I've already taken care of a couple of things. Uh, let's talk about what we're going to use. Um, I'm going to be using the Topography Love decoupage paper today. And because I'm using this paper that's white, yesterday's paper that we used, I'm hoping you guys can see the difference on this camera. Oh, yeah. See how the paper we used yesterday was a lot warmer, and I'm using a bright white today. So because I'm going to be using a warmer white today, I actually painted my background using a warm white instead of a bright white. So I'm hoping that'll help to make these more cohesive. And this is just a wood blank, and it's a 4x7. And I've already painted this, and I painted the edges red because we're going to be going in with the gold again today. Um, but let me find the blank one. I know I have one over here. Oh, Lord. This is what I started out with, right? Just a regular wood blank. And I just painted it in preparation so that we could be sure and get through an entire project today. I also have a stamp out here. I've already set it up for number 14 that I'm going to put on there. And this was a piece of the red wax seal from the other paper that I cut out yesterday. I didn't use it on there, but I'm going to use it on this piece today. So we'll be able to take the red from this heart, right? And we'll be able to have it reflected here on our piece today. And oh, I meant to get another stamp. Dag nabbit. I meant to get one of IOD's stamps that has the you know what? You guys give me 1 second because I'm gonna need that. Let me go look at my stash really quickly. Visit among yourself. Hey, Tina. Dang it. I meant to get a stamp with like a postage stamp or something on it, but we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll have to just use paper. But it'll all work out right. It'll be fine. So I'm gonna set this one aside. Well, I'm gonna leave it right there. So what I figured out my camera is doing is that it's a light balance thing. So when I put something dark, it gets lighter, and then when it's all white, it gets a little bit darker. But I just adjusted it so it doesn't get so dark. Hi, Chris. Um, Tina, crafting is kind of like plumbing. You never have everything that you need right now, right? And I went into the house to go and get the stamp, and then David came home for lunch and he distracted me. But it's okay because we are going to improvise. So I was looking at the Royce Cycle. This is a Topography Love decoupage paper. If you guys are new here, my name is Royce Hunt Bell. I'm the founder, owner, and operator of Royce Cycle the Treasures. At Royce Cycles, we empower people to be creative through quality craft supplies, instruction, inspiration, and encouragement. And whether you're creating for your own heart, for your home, or for your business, like this is a place you want to be. Although it is a hot mess around here. So if you expect organized and stuff like that, this is not the place. But other than that, we're good here. And so we are doing, how many days are in January? 30? We're live every day in the month of January to help jumpstart our creativity for 2026. So hopefully you are joining me. And if you're inspired by any of the projects, I would love to see what you create. So whether it's in my Recycled Upcycling with Decoupage Facebook group, or if you're on YouTube, you can go to my channel and there's a button for a community. You can click there and you can post your projects in my community feed on YouTube as well. It's always a man's fault. I'm thinking, so on this one, we have like really beautiful squirrely script. Squirrely, you guys know what I'm saying. And so I wanted to do something like a kind of counterpart. And so I'm thinking about this. For this one, it's more like topography more than script, is what I'm thinking is going to be beautiful. I was also looking at this one because this section right here has like a little bit of como se dice, Lord have mercy, astrology came to my brain first, and that is not architecture. And I thought that might be nice, but then this is kind of more busy than I want. So I think I'm going to circle back to, yeah, I think we're going to go with this section right here. I think this is going to be perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and trim off this block. Pretty much is what we have right here. And you guys, the Topography Love paper is a repeat. So like you'll see, you can see the numbers right here. And that's the last part of um, this ledger right here. And so if you're working on something larger, you can piece this together and it will work. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get everything I love. And you know what? I'll just still, there are a couple of like, postage stamps on here. There's also two right here. I think I'll just steal those and then I won't have to worry about a stamp. We're going to go shopping on this piece of paper. But I don't want to cut anything unnecessarily. So I think this way is the best way to go. And I only need one. I'm going to go ahead and this is actually two right here. So we'll just take these two. That way I won't need a stamp, right? Because I'll be able to use that. I also have this one. This one is just really pretty. We'll see what happens. We're going to lay out our options and then we'll work from there. And so if you're new, this is Royce Cycles Decoupage paper. The paper is 21 inches by 29 inches, so it's huge. You get a lot of use out of one sheet of paper. The tissue is actually heavier than like gift wrapping tissue, but it is still a tissue paper. So it's perfect for decoupaging, and it really is forgiving when you're working with it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut her out so that she'll be ready. I've learned that I like to have my pieces like ready to go so that when I get into flow, I don't have to stop, right, to be able to do something. And so you guys can see this is kind of like a Greek lady there. I don't know if it's going to focus. There you go. There's like a Greek lady on there. So I thought that one would be pretty since we're doing Valentine's. And this one's just a regular postage stamp, which I may use this one too. We'll see what happens. Yo no sé. And so during my quick crafts with Royce, you guys, I say I wasn't going to monitor comments, and I'll just say I'm not monitoring them closely. We'll say that. But if you have a question, absolutely drop it in the comments. If you're on Facebook, I'm able to go back and answer the question. If you are on YouTube and you have a question you really want the answer, you can pop over to my communities. If you go to Recycle Treasures on the top, you'll see a button for our communities tab, and you can go in there and you can pop a question over there and I will go over and answer it. There's a number, there's like another little circle next to this one. So I'm going to leave both of them for now, and I'll decide at the last minute if I want to use it like that. So the first thing we're going to do is decoupage, and you guys know I don't want my stuff centered. I kind of like having the music sheet on there, and I kind of like having this script right here. So I think I'm going to go right here. I cut a little bit more paper than I needed, didn't I? And I will use this for something else. And I know it's just a little piece, but I will find something to use this on. Believe me, I don't throw away any of my scraps because I end up using them. Like even this little piece back right here, this script is so small that I could use it. I'll show you guys. I had some little, we inside of our membership, we spent a few weeks playing with air dry clay and we made these pendants. And so I went over and decoupaged the back of them just using scrap that I had. And so even if it's just a little bitty piece, you may find that you still have a use for it, right? So I save all my scraps. And I've already painted this, so it's all dry. Let me get my medium ready. And I am just using my water-based just because that's what I'm using. I could just as well be using a decoupage medium or acrylic medium, right? To both adhere and to seal my project because these are going to go on the wall. They're not going to see any action. So I don't have to worry about them being like super durable. I have to leave. I did not wash my brushes, y'all. So I have one clean brush and I have to save it for my fine line crackle. So I'm going to just go in my jar and find a brush that's not too bad that I can use. We'll just dry it off. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Hey, D, how are you? 31 days. Oh, wow. So 31 days. I'll be live 31 days in January. I missed the first day because I didn't start till the second. And there was one day that I missed. So it'll be 29 days. But, that's close. And so I'm going to start with my anchor row on here. And I painted this a warm white, and I'm hoping that that'll show through to help unify our papers because one is a warm white and one is a bright white. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of which, because I want the bottom to show through, I'm going to wet my paper a little bit more than normal because I want to make sure that it's as transparent as possible. And I know I can push the transparency by also going right over the top right away. And because I'm using so much water, I'm going to need to make sure that I use plenty of medium or adhesive under the bottom. I don't want to have puddles, but I do want to be generous. So I know that it's going to adhere well. And you see how that warmth from underneath is coming through the paper, so it doesn't look bright white. I don't need it to be the exact same color, but I do want the tones to be consistent across all of my blocks. You know what I forgot to do? Oh no, wait. We're gonna have an experiment, an unplanned experiment. I'm just gonna put that piece of paper right there on my mat. I don't know what's gonna happen. And I am going to dry this because I forgot to add my grunge. I need that. Don't you guys like when we make mistakes on camera? Then you guys can see how we deal with it. So I did some grunge around the edge of this one. So I do want to have some things be consistent from block to block. They're not going to all be the same, but I do want them to speak to each other, right? And I think that having that grunge halo is one of the things that I want to have repeated from block to block. I'm just using some permanent ink. And I was going to change my ink dauber today, but I thought, that's going to change the color of my grunge if I change it. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to deal with this jacked up ink block for now, or blotter, whatever you call them. And I like to soften the edges of my grunge so it doesn't look like I just kind of drew it on there. So I'm pulling some of that ink to the center so it's harder to tell like where the grunge ends and where it begins. Okay. That is much better. Y'all was just on, let me do that, weren't you? Wipe that up so I don't get any on my paper. And I'm going to apply some heat to this because I do not want it to move when I start decoupaging. I don't want it to smear all over the place. So I'm going to take a few minutes and apply some heat. I have paint on this mat. I'm hoping that this doesn't pick up any of that pink paint because that'll be a whole nother thing to deal with. I have a piece of acrylic paint that I peeled off my mat, and I thought that would be a cool wax seal to put on there, but it's magenta. It's not really red, so I'm not going to use it. And I'm feeling it to make sure that it's warm. So I'm not just drying my ink, I'm actually heating it up. This is actually an embossing gun, you guys. So it gets pretty warm. I want to make sure that when I start decoupaging that ink isn't running all over the place. And when you're using ink, you guys, take the time to read it and see if it's permanent, because some inks are actually made to like run. It's part of their nature in order to distress your project more. Hmm. Can she do it? Oh yeah, let's put some more medium down. And we're gonna see what happens, y'all, because I don't know. Have you guys ever changed your mind mid-project and had a piece of wet decoupage paper? This is either gonna be fabulous or it's gonna be awful. I legitimately don't know. I'm looking from the side to make sure I don't have any dry patches. And now I'm going to attempt to decoupage. And this has just picked up all the stuff that's on my mat, but it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. And even when it's not fine, it's fine. Phew. Everything turned out okay, you guys. Did get a little stuff on there, but it's okay. It'll be fine. Now, if that had been a napkin, you guys would have just been SOL. You know that, right? But because of the 18-pound, that heavier tissue paper, it really is a lot more forgiving. Um, and let's dry this. And you guys can see how that warm underneath is showing through. And it's not exact, but it just makes it look more cohesive with that piece. And honestly, after we do the fine line crackle and the paste, it's going to be even less noticeable. One of the things I love about the Royce decoupage tissue paper is that you can play with transparency. And there are steps that you can take to make it more or less transparent. If you guys want to learn more about decoupage and how you can really maximize your efforts using decoupage as far as what you can create, check out my Decoupage with Confidence course. It's available at roycycledacademy.com. And every time somebody takes the course, they email me and let me know, just like, because decoupage isn't just gluing paper to your surface. Like, there's so much more you can do with it. I do want to get this dry before I start trimming, so I get a nice clean trim. And I had a little red on my brush from when I painted, and so it's looking a little pink, but it's okay. Not a lot, just a little bit. Okay, I think we're good. So you can see that grunge under there. So imagine if I hadn't taken the time to kind of like blend that grunge out, you would be able to see exactly where it stopped and where it started, right? Which is not optimum. When I'm sanding, you guys, I'm either using like a 180 to 220 grit to sand. I feel like it's the perfect balance. If you get down to like an 80 grit, the sand on the sandpaper is so big it can score your piece. And when you get up to the 300s, you're just sanding for an eternity because it's really fine. And so to me, this one is nice. I get a nice clean trim, but it's still fast. So I'm not trimming forever. Okay. I think I like it. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I do want to stamp a 14 on here. I'm thinking right there would be nice. Let's do a little dry fit. If I put my, maybe not, maybe we want that down. I just don't want it in the middle. If I put that there, and then I could bring my, I think that'll be good. I think that's good. So we're going to go ahead and stamp right here. And I'm going to use, I should have left that black ink on my mat. And I am going to use black because I'm debating, oh my gosh, this is why I never get done quickly. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a wash over this really quickly. And I'm actually going to cheat because my clear coat actually dries faster than water would, which is weird. You would think that this would take longer to dry. But when I use water, I get, I think it saturates, and so it just takes longer to dry. So I'm going to take a little bit of clear coat and I'm going to make a wash. And I'm going to put some white in there. I took my paint in the house last night. I'm going to put some of this white in it. And because I want it to be warm, I'm going to take a little bit of my transparent yellow ochre and I'm going to just drop just like one drop because I don't want to be too warm. And what I'm doing is I'm hoping to, ooh, that's too warm. I'm hoping to knock this back just a little bit so that when I stamp on my 14, it's not competing. This was not in my original plan, y'all. But we are going to make it work. Let me wipe some of that off of there. Oh, yeah, that's better. So I want it to be a little warm, but I didn't want it to be like super warm. And I'm going to go in and you can go on really heavy and then wipe it off. But because of time, I'm just kind of dry brushing this right over the top. Just, feathering it out though, so I don't see brush marks. And what that does, see how it just knocks everything back just a little bit so that when I go over the top with my 14, that it's not competing. I'm going to put a little bit of extra here where I'm going to put my number. Just a little bit. I don't want it to be noticeable. And we'll dry that. So you can still see the topography there. It's just knocked back a wee bit. I love, love, love layering my supplies because you can take the exact same supplies that other people are using, but you can make something that's totally like you and your own. Okay. So I like to use a brayer. Oh man, that brayer is pretty dirty. I like to use a brayer when I'm stamping. Actually, that might be fortuitous. We'll leave it there and see what happens because I get like the right amount of ink on my stamp. Like and I really should be using an ink pad, but see what had happened was I did not mark which of my ink pads had erasable black and which had regular black. And I never know. I need to sit down and figure it out one day. And so I'm always afraid to use my ink pads because I don't want to use erasable black and then end up with a smudgy mess somewhere. Um, I'm going to load that. And my brayer is dirty, so we'll see what happens. If I get a little grungy 14, though, that'll actually be nice. I'm going to put it right here. And it just so happens there's a line of words right there that I can use as to kind of support my number. So my number is kind of sitting on a paragraph. And I'm just tickling it, rubbing my hands over it, making sure I don't shift it. And I like to let my stamps rest on my surface for a few minutes. In my holy imagination, the surface is like absorbing the ink so that I get a clearer stamp. And so I have my 14 on there, and I am going to use my dryer again. I'm going to heat this up so that it doesn't smudge. And why 14, you say? Because that's Valentine's Day, right? February 14th. Hey, Melissa, how are you? Is it Shetty? Shetty? Sharika? Tell me what it is so I can say it right. Hey, Kay. I know I said I'm not going to read comments, but you guys know I can't help myself. So I say I'm not going to monitor them closely. Be careful because if you put it on there too close, you might bubble your decoupage. We don't want bubble decoupage. So I think that's good. It's pretty hot. And so now I'm just going to add my pieces. So yesterday we talked about how if you have something that you wanted on your decoupage, sometimes with a paper, because there's so many elements, you feel like you have to choose between what you're going to put on your surface. But if you can cut your element out, you can just add it later. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So we're going to go in and we're going to add our wax seal on here. So if I'm adding something and I don't want to have to seal everything again, I'll put it on the paper. But for us, I'm going to go over the whole thing again anyways, but I wanted to show you guys that. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this right here. And it's going to be kind of cool that it is different. Oh, that's going to be upside down. Let's do it this way. No, but I need that weight. I'm sorry. I'm also balancing things because I have the weight of this 14 over here. And I feel like it needs to be balanced out in this corner right here. So I'm going to just add it that way. It'll be upside down. It's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over everything now and seal everything again. Because if I only seal like right here around that, it's going to look like I just stuck something right there. It's no way, no. So I'm going to go over everything again. Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves, you guys can help me answer this. Do I care that this is more white than that? I don't think I do. I think it's good because we're going to put some crackle on there anyways. And so I think we're fine. So this could have been a quick craft. I could be done right now, right? I mean, this is a block. It's finished. But you guys already know. So if you're new to decoupage and you come to my channel and you're like, oh, Lord, I'm never going to be able to do what Royce's does because it's just so complicated. It does not have to be complicated. You could have been done when you just put the paper on there, right? It could have been finished, but we stamped on top. Okay. We could have been done there. Like you can be done at any point. It's totally up to you. You don't have to do all the things. I'm just, extra. And I used to apologize for that, but I don't anymore. I'm gonna be 56, y'all, next week. And I just don't care. Not that I don't care, but you know what I'm saying. When you're a young woman, you care. Are they upset with me? Did I say something? But no mas. If you upset with me, you better come and tell me because otherwise. So I want to paint gold around the edge. So I'm going to take some gold pigment and I'm going to mix it with my water-based varnish. And I'm going to make me some gold paint. I'm going to try not to mix too much because I don't like to waste. And you don't need a lot either. Am I in the camera? I am. I'll just mix it right there. We'll start with a little, and then if we want some more. Yesterday, I took a little bit of the powder off of my stick afterwards, And I just kind of ran it over the top of my wings. And I liked it because it's just a little shimmery, but it's not like gold. But if you look at it, you can just see the shimmer. Every time I use the word shimmer, I think about QVC back in the day. Look at it shimmer. Okay, so I'm adding some of my top coats. And the cool thing about making your own like metallic is that you can make it as opaque or as sheer as you want. If you want it to be really opaque, then you can add a little bit of your top coat. If you want it to be more sheer, you can add more. And I want this to be pretty opaque, so it dries really quickly though. So when you mix it, you better move fast. And I do like painting red under my gold. We were talking about it yesterday. I guess some people paint black, which I'm sure is fine. This is just something I learned a long time ago. You guys remember when you used, I don't know about you guys, but I had so many magazines, like 4 magazines. Um, and I remember there was this Pottery Barn finish, and the person who wrote the article talked about how when you put red underneath your gold, it makes it look more rich. And ever since I read that article, I've been putting red under my gold. And that was probably, I don't even know, 30 years ago. And then one day I was, you guys ever have like I'm a hoarder. I keep everything, right? But then I have like moments where I just everything has to go. So I had one of those everything has to go moments. Why, you guys? I took my magazine to the thrift store. I was so sad. So sad. Ask me how many I bought back from eBay. I'm just ridiculous. Especially the old upcycling magazines. I'm pitiful, yeah. Okay. That was nice. That was like just enough paint. Woohoo. So now I have the gold around, which, I have some cohesion between my blocks. I did get a little gold on the front, but I talked about it yesterday. I think even that looks, I don't know, I like it. And we're going to dry the gold. And we have enough time for fine line crackle. I'm so excited. Faded fence. Ooh, I like that, Trisha. Yes, girl. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I care about people. I don't know. Kay says purple under gold is beautiful. Ooh, I'll have to try that. It doesn't take much to dry this gold. It dries super fast. This is a little thick right here, so make sure that's dry. And so for today's block, you guys, like I'm done. That's it. But like I don't want every block to be super busy, right? I want to have some balance. And so to me, these look really good. We're going to do one more. So this is two, and we're going to do one more. But yesterday, I really wanted to do some fine line crackle on this one, and we ran out of time. So I figured we could just do fine line crackle on both of them today. And then that way they'll really be cohesive, right? So let me clean up. And I saved myself a brush. Let me see if I have a smaller brush, because maybe I want to use something smaller. I have a can over here with my brushes in it and my smaller brushes. Look at this is how ridiculous I am. This is an old number 10 can, and I just decoupage it, but I keep my hoard of brushes in here. I'm thinking that we want to use, especially for these little small areas, I want to have some small brushes handy. Okay, there's more than just brushes in here. There's all kinds of stuff in here. It's supposed to be just brushes. Okay. So let me get. So we're going to go in with part one first. Let me clean up a little bit. I have stuff everywhere. I like for my studio to stay clean for at least a couple of months. You know, we did the end of the year cleaning. And so everything is all nice and organized. And I can find, well, I shouldn't say I can find stuff. I can't find nothing since we cleaned up. But um, that's a whole nother conversation. Hi, Janet. I'll answer your question. Oh yeah, you're on Facebook. I'll circle back and answer your question. I will say that I'm not saying specific brands right now, um, because I have retailers who may want to share these live, and so and they sell different products, and so I'm not talking about specific brands today. But if you ask the question in the comments, I will let you know like what brand it is or what I used. Okay. So this camera, I never know where the camera actually is. These are so pretty. And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to have a hard time with the third block. This is what happens when I make art blocks. I can make two that are cohesive, but the third one, we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go in with product number one, and I'm going to put it on. You want to make sure that your brush is dry and clean. Now, you guys have seen me reach into like my jar of brushes and dry them off to paint and stuff. That's not dry and clean. You don't want to do that. You really want to make sure it's fully dried and that your brush is clean before you start with your product. And then I have a theory about fine line crackle, and I don't know if my theory is right. I mean, I have no scientific evidence to back up my theory, but it works. And we had a call on our membership last night, and one of my members was saying that she hadn't had any luck with the fine line crackle, and she used it the way that I do, and that she got beautiful crackles. So, which I'm always to hear that. I forgot to bring my strong man out here. Oh, it opened. You guys should have seen me yesterday trying to open my paint. Okay. So I'm going to go over and we're going to lay this down. And I'm using a smaller brush. I have a larger brush that's clean, but I want my crackle to really be fine for this one. What I like to do is do little cross hatches as I go across the surface. And you don't want to go back over. Like once you lay the product down and you go past it, don't go back over it. Leave it alone because you don't want to disturb it. And some places I'll put it a little thicker. Some places it'll be a little thinner. And what will happen is in the thinner areas, I'll have finer crackle, like really fine, and I'll have deeper and larger crackles in the places where I put more. And when I look at like old oil paintings that have crazings, it's never consistent like all the way across, right? You have different crackles. Some places there's no crackle. And so that's what I like to replicate with the fine line crackle, or even like old stoneware, right? Like all of it's not uniformly crackled. It's different. In some areas, there might not be any crackle, but you do want to be pretty generous. when you're putting this down. So when I say less, I don't mean like barely any, because you still want to be generous when you're laying this down. Maybe I'll use red roses on the next block. That would be pretty, right? And that would still kind of go with our theme, our grungy, pretty theme. And so you guys see it's a generous, I've laid down a really generous layer. Some places are more generous than others. Oops, I missed a spot completely right there, which I guess it's fine. I'm probably not gonna get crackle there anyways because I went back over it. Um, but I laid down a really generous layer and I have my little hatch marks down there. So this one is not gonna be as easy because I have to work around these wings, but I think I can do it. And the crackle doesn't have to be like everywhere. And remember, you want to be generous. If you go in and you don't have enough, you're not. I mean, you'll get crackle, but it'll be really small, which that may be what you want, or you won't get any crackle, which is not fun. And this is going to dry clear. Let me use my smaller brush. I'm not going to put that back in my water because um, just in case I have to use it. And I don't know if I'm going to get crackle down in here, but we're going to try. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. And again, I'm just doing the same thing here as I do in decoupage, right? I can look and I can see if there's any dry areas. I know that I don't have any product on there. I do want to cover my whole surface because this process is going to be really shiny. And so I don't want to have like a random dull spot in the middle of my project. So I'm going to dry these. And I wish I had some, you know what? I'm going to just stick these into this little plastic right here. I don't have saran, but I have bubble wrap on my table because inside of our membership, we were playing with the gel plate last night and we were making texture prints. So I have a whole stack of new collage papers that will probably end up in one of my ephemera packages for the whatnot sale, the first Friday in January, whichever date that is. So I'm going to go over with this and I'm going to dry it. I have found that when I use the heat from my dryer, that I get more crackle. Hey, Gypsy Ruth, how are you? Hey, Karen, I didn't see you pop in. A postmark with the number 14. I have to find one of those, Chris. But yes. So my two projects are kind of like my eyebrows, right? They're similar. They coordinate, but they're not the same. I really wanted to do crackle yesterday. So I'm so happy that today's project went by fairly quickly and we have time for crackle. Oh, I didn't put any up here. I think I need crackle there. Let me do that. I'll use the small brush. Ooh, do I want crackle on my heart? Don't go breaking my heart. That's what my brain does, you guys. I say a word and she starts singing a random song. Okay. I don't know how much crisscrossing I can do in that little bitty area, but I tried. So this one is so the question was which papers I was using. The block that we did yesterday was from Topography Blocks. It's a really, really old design. I can show you the rest of it in a few minutes. It has the girl's face on it and some different blocks. This one is from Topography Love, yes. And then I stamped the 14, and this little wax seal was from another part of Topography Love, but we decoupaged it onto this one, and then same thing here. We took this um, stamp, not like a post. It is a, see, whenever I say stamp, I get confused because they're both postage stamps, but one's like a paper stamp and one's like a stamp stamp. You know what I'm saying? And this postal stamp, we also stole from another part of the paper. My only trepidation with using, like I want to use there's one transfer that has like 50 million roses on it that I have. And I want to use it, but then I don't know if I want to use the crackle on top of it. But maybe I'll decoupage it under the paper. Maybe I'll put the transfer under the paper. Hmm, that could be interesting. Very interesting. We'll see what I come up with tomorrow. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me while we do these projects. If you like hanging out and creating like this and like kind of meeting up with the same people every time you come, consider joining us for the Recycled Besties membership. Um, do we learn new stuff all the time? Yes. Do we experiment, take like super deep dives and experiment on different things? Absolutely. Um, do we have an awesome community of creative women? Absolutely. Like that's my favorite part. I have a bubble right there. That's weird. Okay, sorry. So that first layer is dry, and I'm gonna go over with the second layer. Super important to make sure you're using a dry, clean brush. And oh, I have a big brush. And this one is I'm gonna use this one because this is one I have. And you want to make sure that this is stirred up really well too. I'll use this. I mean, and you can shake it, but like if you shake it, then you might get bubbles. So you guys see me shake it sometimes. That's not the best choice. Stirring it is really better. I'm just cleaning my knife in case you're wondering what I'm doing. And I'm going to put in another generous layer, and I'm crisscrossing this layer too. This brush is a lot bigger, so we'll see what happens. I'm not sure how that'll impact it. And one thing, Roots, I did paint a warm white under the Topography Love paper. so that it would still look cohesive with the one we did yesterday, because we started with the warmer white, a paper with the warmer white. I'm looking from the side just to make sure that I have the whole thing covered. Because again, this is really shiny, so I want the sheen to be the same, even if my crackles aren't the same all over. Again, I'm being pretty generous with this. Don't know how much crack-a-lackin' I'm gonna get down here in these crevices, but we'll see. And then this little area around the heart. I didn't go over the heart though. We'll leave the heart whole. Okay. Now we're gonna dry this, and I'm gonna really carefully, right? Because I don't want to overheat, because then my paper might bubble. But I am gonna warm this up pretty good with my embossing gun. Whenever I learn something, like for me, if I can find out, like, I don't know, all the things about it, then I'm more likely to like have a really good understanding of it. And so I want to know like why, um, like even like for a producer, like what was their approach? Why did they make it like that? What did they expect? All the things. And again, if you're new here to Royce Cycled, my name is Royce Hunt, and I am the founder, owner, and operator of Royce Cycled Treasures. We are making some Valentine art blocks. We made this one yesterday and this one today. Um, and we're going to make one more together. So we'll make one tomorrow. But we are joining each other here every day in the month of January, and we're creating to jumpstart our creativity for 2026. So if you would like to join us, I'll be here. I'm going to say about 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because I was about 4 or 5 minutes late to do today too. So um, about 11 a.m. And if you are looking for Roy Cycle decoupage paper, you can find the paper and the retailers who carry the paper at roycycled.com. You guys ever find yourself holding your breath when you're using the fine line crackle? Like, will I get crackle? Yes, I'll get crackle. Because when you're warming it up, nothing is happening. So you have to be patient until it gets completely dry, and then the crackle starts showing up. And yesterday, this little stamp right here wasn't there either. So I was able to just decoupage it right over the top, and you can't even tell. It's the beauty of working with the tissue paper. And I'm moving my heat gun quite a bit because if I hold it in one place too long, my paper will start boiling. So I want to apply heat, but I don't want to bubble my paper. Am I starting to see some crack-a-lacking? Ooh, yes. I'm starting to see some crack-a-lacking. It's so exciting when it starts happening. And we're going to use some paste to rub into there. I don't know. Should I do wax or paste? Because I kind of want to wax over these wings too. And we did a project last week. Where is it? Oh, it was this one. It might be too late. Why did that bubble form right there? That's so weird. Okay, so this side, this one has a lot of crack-a-lacking going on. I think we're dry. And so let's see what happens with this one. I'm starting to get some crack-a-lacking over here too. Oh, I know, Karen. It's not your fault. It's ours. Arizona doesn't participate in daylight savings time. That's why I always say Pacific Standard Time, Karen. So 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Because I don't know what time we're on right now. I got less crackhead on this one, but it's still there. It's just really fine. I'm gonna try to put some heat on it and see if I can get a little bit more. Actually, there's quite a bit. It's funny because you can't really tell, and you guys can't see it at all. But when I go in with the paste, you'll be able to see it. Let's hit this area right around this heart and see if we can get some more crackle there. I mean, I'll put enough product on there. Okay. So it looks the same, right? But am I going to use wax? I think I am. I'm going to use wax. And I'm going to go right in with the dark wax. If it gets too dark, the reason why I'm saying I'm going to go right in with the dark wax is because this product is really shiny. And so it's going to be really forgiving. If I go in and the wax is too dark, I'll be able to pull it off fairly easily. Oh, you guys see that crackle? It's so hard on the camera, but it's gorgeous. I just love it so much. I'm going to try to bring it out a little bit more. And let's see what we got over here. Oh, it's more than I thought it was. You guys see that crackle up there? Isn't it beautiful? I'm gonna have to go in with my little brush here, my little wax brush. I don't, oh, it did crack around the heart. See, I couldn't see it. I didn't even think it was crack-a-lacking, but it was. Let me get a little brush. I have a couple of brushes that are small that I use only for wax. Um, that'll help us get into those tight areas. Because we don't want any bright white peeking out anywhere. That's no bueno. Okay. I don't want any bright white, but if I have some areas that are darker, like that's fine. Like, because if this were somewhere, right, I would have grunge settling into the areas around the details. I can't wait to show you guys a picture of this because I know it's hard to show you when we're live together, especially with my camera misbehaving. You see that? So it's reading the dark on the leaves, and so that's why it's brightening up. But I mean, on the wings, I'm going to go ahead and wax these wings because I feel like they need it. And this is what I wanted to do yesterday, but we ran out of time. So we can finish up today. And I'm actually ahead of schedule, which is good because I need to get to the warehouse and get some more orders out. And you guys, we will be revealing the new Royce Cycle designs on Sundays nights, chatting and crafting with Royce and David. So be sure and join us on Sunday. And then next week, every day I'll be making projects using new paper. So be sure and join us or join me, but to join us on Sunday. I really don't want any bright white areas peeking out at me. And for this, I'm going to take my rag and because I don't want to lose all of that rust that we made together. I kind of want this to be a little shiny. So I'm gonna buff that. You guys know when you use wax, the more you buff it, the shinier it gets. So I'm gonna add some sheen to this, but I don't necessarily want sheen on my feathers. Okay. So those are our projects. What do you guys think? So we have 2 blocks down and we have one more to go. And like I said, this one is fairly simple, right? We just used all decoupage. So for today's project, I'll do an overview really quickly. We took the recycled Topography Love decoupage paper. I did paint a warm paint underneath it because the Topography Love paper is a bright white and the romantic project blocks is warm. So you see the difference? So this one was warm and this one would have been a bright white. So I did paint a warm white underneath the paper and we did a wash over it. That was more to knock some of the topography back so the 14 could stand out. But I didn't want, they don't need to match, but if this would have been bright white, it would look weird against this one, right? So now they look like they go together. And so the romantic block paper is this one. It has Waverly Magazine on the end. We used that piece yesterday. And I still have all of these pieces that I could use for other projects, right? Some of you have been with me for a while. You may have remembered my mixed media piece I did with her years ago. And then this one is a Topography Love decoupage paper. And so we use a piece of this paper to do our block today. And I use a stamp to stamp the 14 using permanent ink. And these bits were also on the Topography Love decoupage paper. I just cut them out and decoupaged them right on the top. And you literally can't even tell because it's tissue paper. So once you put it on there, it just looks like it's always been on there. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's crafts. And like I said, for me, when I decorate for the holidays, like not off holidays, Christmas is different. Like you can go all out for Christmas. I do sometimes. But for other holidays, I don't go like all out. What I'll do though is I might make a couple of pieces and then integrate them into my home decor, whether they end up in a vignette or like in my living room. So they're there, but they're not like super loud. And pieces like this are perfect for those because these are thick enough that they can be a shelf sitter and they can sit in a vignette or on a shelf, or you can hang them on a wall too. Yeah, the art blocks are super fun, and of course, for a lot of us, we are. And I'm debating. I showed you guys yesterday a picture of an art block that I did. I swear it has to be like 6 or 7. It's a long time ago. I don't even know how long to say it was, but I was on Pinterest looking for ideas, and my project block that I made like 5 or 6, 7 years ago is on there, but Etsy is using it to sell the product that I used to make that block. Like, what the heck? What's up with that? Anyways, that's the old, I forget the name of it, but it was a feathers and wings mold that I used to make that one. And then, of course, decoupage paper on the background. So we'll see what our next block is. I do not know yet. I don't know if we want to go with the theme of hearts or if we want to go with the themes of feathers, or maybe we want to choose something that's completely different. I feel like as long as you have one, something that strings your pieces together, and we already have the crackle and the gold that kind of strings all of our blocks together. So I don't know. We shall see what happens. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. You guys remember we experimented today, right? There were some things that I did today that I did not know if they were going to work. So where experimentation goes, creativity follows. Make sure you make time for yourself to be able to play and experiment so that you can grow creatively. You guys have a blessed day, and Lord willing, I will see you here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.